You played a total X-rated video at your very own wedding ceremony. At first, your friends and family thought you were just being wild, but then they looked closer. They realized the woman in the video was actually the bride Liu Ruyan, and the man definitely wasn't you. While everyone was reeling in shock, they noticed the bride herself was nowhere to be found. Under the confused stares of every guest, you held a microphone in one hand and called Liu Ruyan with the other. She didn't pick up the first time. You didn't give up and called again. After a few rings, she finally answered. You could clearly hear traffic and sirens over the phone and the guests. Could even hear her engine roaring. Everyone started whispering. Why is Liu Ruyan out driving right now? Is the heiress of the Liu family making a run for it? You asked calmly, where are you? Why did you leave? Liu Ruyan snapped back impatiently. I have something to take care of. We can reschedule this party later. You pushed her. What could possibly be more important than our own engagement? Liu Ruyan's voice came through the speaker, sharp and annoyed. I said we'll reschedule. I'm driving, I can't talk right now. You let out a roar. You think you can just reschedule whenever you feel like it. What do you think this venue and all these guests are to you? What do you think my family is? I spent 6 months planning this day. And you think one sentence can just make it go away? Finally, you said something that destroyed your own dignity. Heh, if we reschedule, am I even the groom anymore? The entire room went dead silent. Liu Ruyan was stunned. She wondered if this was really the same doormat. Chen Mo, what the hell are you talking about? Are you trying to call off the wedding? I'm not the one walking away, am I? I already told you I have to get to the hospital. Someone's life is on the line. You let out a cold laugh. Are you a doctor now? Since when can you save lives? Tell me who's lying in that hospital bed. Are they dying right this second? Could it not wait 1 more hour? You chose to walk out and dump everyone right in the middle of the ceremony. Even the Liu family was baffled. In such a critical moment, who could possibly have the charm to make the infamously cold Liu heiress drop everything and rush to the hospital herself then? Liu Ruyan's voice turned ice cold. It's my assistant, Yi Fan. Hearing that name? The crowd went wild. Isn't Yi Fan just her assistant? She hired him personally right after graduation. They say he looks like a literal god, and that they're so close, they're basically inseparable, like they're besties. Since when do high society ladies have male best friends? The gossip. The matriarch Liu Huiqin couldn't take it anymore and sent people to snatch your phone. But you were ready. You'd hired 200 tough guys for $10 each to block the way. You kept going, what happened to him, a little cold, or did he fall off his bike? I've always wondered about you two, who's really the boss here. If he's just a low-level assistant, why is the great CEO Liu ditching her fiancé just to play nursemaid for him? Chen Mo, can you stop being so petty? He's not just my assistant, he's also my friend. Disrespecting him is the same as disrespecting me. Hearing that, your heart sank, of course. Do you have any idea what happens when you don't respect this assistant? Families are torn apart, and bodies end up in the street. It was because of Yi Fan that you met such a tragic early end. But now that you're back reborn, you're going to destroy this pathetic couple's reputation piece by piece. Making them a permanent disgrace, making them famous, is just the first step of your plan. At this point, you pressed on saying, it seems like this friend of yours is more important than your own fiancé. If that's how it is, then make a choice. It's either me or Yi Fan. Who do you pick? Liu Ruyan didn't expect you to actually say that, or to back her into such a corner in her mind. She and Yi Fan were soulmates. How could you be so twisted as to doubt their bond? Answer me, who is it? You kept pushing her, refusing to let up. Liu Ruyan quickly compared the two and realized Yi Fan seemed to understand her better. Making her life effortless, she blurted out, Yi Fan. With that, she hung up the phone in a rush and sped off toward the hospital. But the moment those words left her lips, her heart skipped a beat, as if someone vital was slipping away forever. Meanwhile, back at the venue, every relative in the audience had heard her choice loud and clear. Not a single person defended her. The image of the Ice Queen goddess was completely shattered. The family matriarch felt an overwhelming sense of shame. She hated Liu Ruyan for being so foolish, and she resented you for being so ruthless, blowing everything up in front of everyone. She immediately called over a family servant. Go find that ungrateful girl and bring her back. Right now, if that Ye Fan guy is dead, fine. But if he's alive, make sure he stays dead. Meanwhile, Liu Ruyan had already arrived at the hospital. She was still wearing her pure white wedding dress. Sprinting through the hallways, no one at the hospital had ever seen a bride in full gown there before. Everyone started whispering, wondering what was going on. Some hopeless romantics already imagined a tragic car accident. They figured the beautiful girl's boyfriend must permanently ill, likely not making it through the night. That's why his bride came in her wedding dress. to say her final goodbyes, thinking this. Some of the girls couldn't wait to snap photos and post them online. In your past life, it was this viral storm that did you in once everyone's identities were leaked. You were branded a cuckold for the rest of your life. In that life, after Liu Ruyan ditched the wedding, the Liu family punished her severely and planned to deal with Ye Fan once and for all. But she protected him, threatening to kill herself if they touched him. And you, the ultimate simp, naturally chose to forgive her. Keyboard warriors twisted your love, painting you as a spoiled rich brat who stole another man's girl using your family's power to bully the Lius into forcing their daughter to marry you. They said you were the one who tore Liu Ruyan and Ye Fan apart, while Ye Fan played of the resilient hero. Even though he was wronged, he still loved her and stayed by her side through it all. To the rest of the world, you were the ultimate villain. Liu Ruyan knew the truth, but she never once tried to clear your name. She only cared about protecting Ye Fan's reputation. You didn't matter to her at all. Right now at the wedding reception, you're holding the microphone. You look at the crowd and say with deep emotion, since the eldest daughter of the Liu family has already made her choice, then I'll be the bigger man and step aside. Liu Huiqin has no idea what you're about to say next, but she feels a wave of unease. She's determined to stop you from speaking any further at all costs. She drags her aging body to the front of the stage to stop you saying Chen Mo. Whatever it is, we're family. Let's go home and talk about this behind closed doors. Ruyan is young and reckless. She lost her head for a moment. We'll deal with her, I promise. Now come down here and give me that microphone. You look down at Liu Huiqin, the woman you've called grandmother for so many years. Your mind starts to wander for a moment. The Chen family has always been small. Your grandparents passed away before you were even born, and your parents died in a tragic accident when you were in high school. In the end, you were the only one left to carry the weight of the entire Chen family legacy. Back then, it was the Liu family that gave you care and warmth. However, their kindness always had a hidden motive. Their true intention all along was to swallow up every single asset the Chen family owned. In this life, you will never let history repeat itself. Mrs. Liu, your last name is Liu and mine is Chen. Where do you get this family talk from ever since your granddaughter made her choice? I am no longer your grandson-in-law, be Ye Fan. And right now, I am speaking to you as the head of the Chen family. Seeing that her emotional manipulation isn't working, Liu Huiqin looks up at you on stage in total despair. You turn back to the guests and say with an apologetic face, I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry for making you all take time out of your busy schedules to attend my engagement party, only for it to turn into such a farce. But as I said, I'm happy to step aside for the sake of love. Since the eldest daughter of the Liu family has her heart set on someone else, how could I possibly stand in the way? As of today, my engagement to Liu Ruyan is officially terminated. As soon as those words leave your mouth, your former father-in-law, Qin Hai, finds a sudden burst of courage from somewhere and charges straight onto the stage. He tries to stop you from canceling the engagement, shouting viciously, I don't agree. I absolutely refuse to let this happen, Chen Mo. You have no right to make this decision. Mr. Qin, what possible reason could you have to disagree? Your daughter has already made her choice. She's run off to chase her true love. What am I supposed to do? Should I send people to kidnap your daughter and lock her away? We Chens would never do something so immoral or illegal. My family upbringing simply wouldn't allow it. These words are a direct slap in the face to the Liu family, clearly implying that they have no class and raised a daughter with no sense of shame. Sinhai's face turns a deep shade of red as he continues. Chen Mo Ruyan definitely didn't realize that her choice would mean ending the engagement. If she knew she'd come back for sure, just give her one more chance. Faced with Qin Hai's begging, you just give him a contemptuous smile. You slowly shake your head. Mr. Qin, how do you know and give her a chance? She's the one who burned the bridge herself, or did you already forget that video from earlier? It's obvious your daughter and Ye Fan have been sneaking around for a long time. What's the point of objecting now? Your new son-in-law is currently lying in a hospital bed. I think you'd be better off going there to check on him. Oh, and Mrs. Liu, is your family still looking for a live-in son-in-law for the third generation? Because if that's the case, you really should have said so sooner. I should step back now to avoid any more drama or misunderstandings. No one in the audience expected you to stay so incredibly calm. You looked every bit the powerful leader. Why on earth would Liu Qinhai let a son-in-law like you walk away? He still tried to push through and whispered in your ear, this is just how high society marriages work. You do your thing, she does hers. Ruyan has been by your side so many years. You can't just toss her aside now. She was just momentarily confused. Just forgive her. If you marry her, it is like inheriting half of the Liu family's empire. Think about your history and all that wealth. And just forget about calling off the wedding. You are thinking to yourself, has this old man completely lost his mind? After everything they have done, he still expects you to just swallow your pride? Besides, you and Liu Ruyan haven't even crossed the line yet. Beyond some hugging and kissing, nothing else has ever happened between you. You have been played for a fool once, but there is no way in hell you will let it happen a second time. My family has more than enough money. We don't need a single cent from yours. Actually, I have a second announcement to make as of today. The Chen family is officially cutting all strategic ties with the Lius. Once projects are finished, we will not be signing any new contracts with them. Not only was Liu Qinhai stunned, but Liu Huiqin was so shaken she couldn't even stand. Overwhelmed by rage, she collapsed right there on the floor. Get her to the hospital now! The Liu family rushed to help her up. Scurrying out of the venue, seeing the chaos, Liu Qinhai just shook his head in defeat and followed them out. You stayed behind to calm the guests and handle the fallout. Late that night, after everyone had left, the noise finally faded away. The Chen household was quiet again, but a storm was brewing beneath that silence. You and Shen Yuchu went back to the living room sipping tea without saying a word. Shen Yuchu was like a late autumn rose, not loud or flashy, but possessing an irresistible charm, if Liu Ruyan was a cold lotus. Then Shen Yuchu was more like a dark rose. She is about 3 or 4 years older than you. Not long after the Chen family adopted her, my mother found out she was pregnant with me. Even after I was born, they never treated her like an outsider. They raised her as their own daughter. Finally, she broke the silence and asked, "Are you really gonna let them off that easily? I can't stand what she did to you. How could she? Betray your heart like that." As she spoke, she started to break down in tears. At that moment, you stopped pretending to be okay and collapsed into your chair, completely drained. Your eyes were vacant, filled with a mix of grief, desperation, and helplessness, along with pure disbelief, even after being reborn. You still can't wrap your head around why she would do this. The shame of her running away is just the beginning. What you have endured goes far beyond today, 10 years ago just to get revenge for Ye Fan. She actually beat you into a vegetative state. You said her, "Sis, this is far from over. Ruyan is just the start. I am going to make the whole Liu family pay for her choice." What do you think matters most to a woman? Before she could even answer, you continued, "I have already leaked those photos of her cheating to the entire world. It might hurt my reputation too, like killing 1,000 enemies and losing 800. But she can forget about ever marrying into another wealthy family. The Lius will never allow her to be with that guy Ye Fan. We don't even have to lift a finger. They will tear each other apart. Our only job now is to take down the Liu family. I'm going to make the Liu family suffer until there's nothing left." You growl, your knuckles turning white as you squeeze your teacup. Your eyes are filled with a raw, murderous intensity that feels dangerous. Shen Yuchu has never seen you like this before. To her, it's like you've become a completely different person. "All right, Chen Mo, I'm with you all the way. The Chen family will always be your shield. Together we'll make them pay 10 times over," Shen Yuchu says, stepping closer to you. She reaches out and gently strokes your forehead just like she used to when we were kids. You look at her face, a face you missed so desperately in your past life after you ended up in a vegetative state. Shen Yuchu came to take care of you every single day, turning you over and massaging your muscles so they wouldn't waste away. She did everything herself, whispering stories into your ear about what was happening in the world outside. She would always end by stroking your hair. Overcome by the memory, you can't help but stand up and pull her into a tight hug. You still don't know where Liu Ruyan took Shen Yuchu in that previous life, or how her story ended. Until the moment you died, you were consumed by the regret of loving Liu Ruyan. And for letting that woman hurt your own flesh and blood, you tell yourself right then, "In this life, the one person I will never ever fail is Shen Yuchu." You bury your face in the crook of her neck, breathing in her familiar, comforting scent. The overwhelming relief of having her back breaks you, and you start sobbing uncontrollably. Stunned by the sudden embrace, her body stiffens. It's been years since you two have held each other like this. After all, she practically raised you. You've been following her around like a shadow since you were a little boy. But once you met Liu Ruyan, you let her drive a wedge between you and Shen Yuchu. Hearing you cry, Shen Yuchu thinks you're still heartbroken over Liu Ruyan. Her heart aches for you, and she wraps her arms around you tightly. She strokes the back of your head, comforting her crybaby little brother just like she did when you were young. You have a good cry, let all the bitterness and depression trapped in your soul. You feel a weight lifted, a spark of life returning to your eyes. "Sis," you say, "go get some rest. We're heading to the office tomorrow. There's a lot of business we need to settle." With that, you turn and head for the door. Where are you going? It's so late, why are you heading out now? Shen Yuchu asks. I'm going back to the wedding house. I need to get some things back, my parents' belongings. I can't leave them with Liu Ruyan, you explain. Realizing you aren't going back to Liu Ruyan out of some lingering regret, Shen Yuchu doesn't push any further. She arranges for a car to take you away from the Chen estate once you're gone. Shen Yuchu lets out a cold, sharp breath. The Liu family, it's time we settled our debts. Shen Yuchu is no damsel in distress. She was only 22 when she stepped up to carry the weight of the family. The fact that she kept the family empire standing all these years is proof enough of how capable she really is. In your past life, if you hadn't been so blind, stripping her of her power and authority. How could the Liu family have ever stolen the Chen legacy? How could they have let Ruyan kidnap Shen Yuchu? Sky Ocean Pavilion is a luxury villa complex developed by the Lius, and that's where your wedding home is located. You unlock the door and walk straight into the villa. Staring at the rooms that feel both familiar and haunting, you're hit by a wave of bitter grief. Honestly, you had planned to live in the Chen family mansion after the wedding, but Liu Ruyan refused. She said she hated the old-fashioned style, and as luck would have it, her family's development project was just finishing up, so she insisted you buy a house here. Villa number 1, the crown jewel of Sky Ocean Pavilion. The price tag was $150 million. It was only because you took the lead and bought it that this failing project was suddenly brought back to life. All your wealthy friends bought houses here one after another just to be closer to the Chen family. You spent another $50 million on the renovations, making sure every detail was exactly how Liu Ruyan liked it. You spent 6 months personally supervising the work, thinking this would be where you'd spend the rest of your lives together. You wouldn't tolerate a single flaw, yet in the end you just made everything perfect for Yifan. After you were paralyzed and left in a vegetative state, Liu Ruyan dumped you back at the old Chen Manor. She gave this place to Yifan. Maybe that's why she got rid of you, just so she could hand him your wedding home. You had no idea what was happening once you lost consciousness. Did that home you built brick by brick really become a love nest for Liu Ruyan and Ye Fan? Did they together in your wedding bed? That's exactly why Shen Yuchu finally snapped. She led a group to hunt them down and beat Ye Fan until he was paralyzed, which ultimately led to her own tragic end. The thought of it shreds your heart, and a mouthful of fresh blood spills from your lips. The bright red blood splatters across the white living room carpet. It's a sickening sight. Overwhelmed by grief, you collapse onto the floor. Meanwhile, at Hangzhou Central Hospital, Liu Ruyan has no clue that she's about to become the most hated person in the entire city. She's sitting by Ye Fan's bed, clutching his hand tightly in hers. Looking at his pale face as he lies there, her heart aches for him. Thank God he's okay. It's just some surface scratches, no internal injuries. But the impact knocked him out and he's still unconscious. She's been watching over him for more than 2 hours. She hasn't even blinked. She has absolutely no idea what's currently happening back at the Chen Manor. She doesn't realize she's the talk of the town, and not in a good way. Someone already posted a video of her rushing into the hospital to find him. At first, people online were praising their epic, heartbreaking love story. Netizens were obsessing over her looks and their supposedly undying devotion. The story went viral, instantly filled with nothing but blessings and support. But the tables turned fast. People who were actually at your engagement party knew the truth. They started calling her out. Please, what a load of absolute garbage. That's not how it happened at all. This woman is Liu Ruyan, the heiress of the Liu family. The guy in the hospital is just her assistant Yi Fan. Tonight was supposed to be her engagement to the Chen family's son. She ditched her fiancé Chen Mo right at the altar and ran to the hospital still wearing her wedding dress. She's not the boyfriend, she's visiting her secret lover. I can't believe people are actually cheering for these lowlifes. It makes me sick. I'm literally fuming. This user then spilled everything about you, Liu Ruyan and Ye Fan. They posted the whole story along with photos from the engagement party. The photos showed you standing all alone on that stage, your handsome face full of heartbreak and despair. And on the giant screen behind you was that photo of Liu Ruyan in her pajamas. Snuggled up with Ye Fan, the logic was clear and the evidence was undeniable. It proved once and for all that she was cheating with Ye Fan. In an instant, the internet turned on her. Liu Ruyan had no idea the internet was exploding. She turned her phone off the moment she got to the hospital. People kept calling her and she didn't want anyone waking Ye Fan up while he rested. But honestly, she was also feeling guilty and was too scared to face the Chen family. Now the internet is flooded with people cursing them out and spitting on their names. More leaks started pouring in and the pure image she worked so hard to build crumbled in seconds. Ye Fan became the ultimate target of public hatred, but she's still completely oblivious. She's still dreaming of a future with him, having no idea that her world has already turned into a nightmare. She was just too naive, thinking the Chen family would just roll over and take this humiliation. He didn't know how to explain things to his family or the Chens, so he just turned off his phone for some peace and quiet. In her mind, Chen Mo was just having a hard time processing everything. She figured once she went back and explained things in person, she could smooth things over with him. As long as Chen Mo wasn't mad and forgave her, his family wouldn't hold a grudge either. When the time was right, she'd make him give her a proper apology. She'd let him propose one more time, and once he was happy again, she would overlook how aggressive he'd been today and just go ahead and marry him. I can't believe he actually made me choose. I'm giving him the silent treatment for one whole week. I need to put him in his place. How dare he defy his princess like that? But she still planned on marrying him. She'd even let Yi Fan be the best man. After the wedding, she wanted to have 2 kids and the boy would take her family name Liu. That was that. He'd been like this for all the years they'd been together. No matter how badly she messed up the second she stood in front of him, he'd forgive her. After all, she was the high and mighty princess and he was just her loyal knight. Except this time she was dead wrong. Her knight was already gone, she'd killed him herself, but Liu Ruyan was still living in a fantasy. Suddenly the door burst open, making Liu Ruyan up. Yi Fan jolted on the bed too, but he still didn't wake up. Ruyan was terrified it was Chen Mo coming for her. She was a nervous wreck. She didn't even notice Yi Fan acting strange. The man walking in was Chin Hai. He marched into the room with several bodyguards looking incredibly stern. When she saw it was just Chin Hai, she immediately relaxed. "What are you doing here?" Her tone was icy, showing zero respect for her own father. Chin Hai seemed used to it. He didn't even flinch. He spoke slowly. "Ruyan, your grandmother fainted from the stress. She's in the room next door. You should go see her right now." Hearing that, Ruyan quickly let go of Ye Fan's hand and stood up. "How did Grandma get that upset? Why didn't you tell me sooner?" What is wrong with Chen Mo? He couldn't even handle a little situation like this. He let Grandma collapse. Why didn't he think to calm her down first? "Where is he? Did he come with you?" To have a serious word with him. How on earth did he handle things? Ryan's beautiful face was cold as ice. Her voice was dripping with resentment and she didn't even spare a glance for Chin Hai. She stormed out of the room to find her grandmother dumping all the blame onto Chen Mo. It didn't even cross her mind that the chaos was caused by her ditching her own wedding. Of course, she had no idea that the moment she chose Ye Fan over him, Chen Mo had already called off the entire engagement and Chin Hai wasn't about to tell her. He just glanced at Ye Fan on the bed and gave a mocking sneer. "Give it a rest. I was pulling these stunts before you were even born." Ye Fan didn't move an inch. It was as if he really were unconscious. Chin Hai continued, "Fine, keep playing pretend." Chin Hai clearly saw through the act, but he didn't call him out directly. He turned to his guards and said, "Stay here and watch him. Don't let a single step out of this room." With that, Chin Hai walked out right then. Ye Fan's eyelids twitched slightly as if he were trying to see what was going on outside. He peeked through a tiny slit and saw 2 massive hulking shadows guarding the door. Scared out of his mind, he quickly went back to playing dead while Ruyan stepped out of the room. Just as she thought, the Liu family bodyguards were standing right outside the VIP suite next door. Their faces were stone cold. As she rushed inside, she saw her elderly grandmother lying in the hospital bed. She was completely unconscious, and the sight of it made Ruyan burst into tears all over again. She grabbed Nanny Wang, her grandmother's personal aide, and cried, "Nanny Wang, what happened to Grandma?" How did this happen? Nanny Wang hesitated, the words seemingly stuck in her throat. She had served the Liu family for over 50 years, staying by Grandma's side since they were girls. She had watched Ruyan grow up, and she simply didn't want to believe it. She couldn't believe Ruyan would do something so reckless, but the cold, hard truth was right in front of her. Her young mistress had abandoned her own fiancé to run to the hospital for some assistant, and she did it right in the middle of her engagement party. Nanny Wang let out a heavy sigh. She whispered softly, "Sweetheart, the madam, she just got so worked up that she collapsed. She'll be fine, she just needs a moment." But before Ruyan could ask anything else, Grandma Liu stirred, having heard their voices, and slowly began to wake up. Seeing this, Nanny Wang rushed over to help the old woman sit up. Ruyan jumped in to help as well. "Grandma, are you okay? How are you feeling, and where on earth is Chen Mo? You literally collapsed. Didn't he even bother to follow you here?" Ruyan didn't say a single word about running out on her own wedding. She had no idea she was the cause of all this. She didn't realize her grandmother had fainted from pure rage. Instead, she had the nerve to act entitled. She blamed Chen Mo for not taking care of her grandmother. "I can't believe you're in the hospital, and he's not even here." But Grandma Liu suddenly shoved Ruyan's hand away. She looked at her with pure disgust and said, "Get away from me, I don't have a granddaughter like you." Ruyan realized the secret was out, but she still acted like it was no big deal. "Oh, Grandma, what are you talking about? It was just an engagement party, wasn't it? We can just throw another one later. I'll handle Chen Mo. I'll explain everything to him. I'll call him right now and make him come here and apologize to you." As she said it, she pulled out her phone to call Chen Mo, but Grandma Liu stopped her instantly. It was because Grandma knew something Ruyan didn't have a clue about yet. The whole world knew what had happened. Chen Mo had already publicly called off the wedding. If Ruyan called him with that bratty attitude now, it would only backfire and make things worse. If she provoked Chen Mo any further, there would be absolutely no room for a second chance. "Don't you dare call him. You sit there and listen to what I have to say first." Ruyan didn't dare cross her grandmother right then, so she obediently tucked her phone away. "I'm listening, Grandma." The old woman leaned back against the hospital pillows. She then told Nanny Wang to go out and shut the door. Once Nanny Wang was gone, and it was just the two of them, Grandma's expression shifted instantly. She exploded in a fit of rage, shouting, Do you have any idea what you've done, or do you just think I'm too old and useless to care? Do you think I can't handle you anymore? How do you bring such absolute shame to this family? You've completely humiliated the Liu name!" Ruyan physically recoiled, her whole body trembling. Tears of self-pity started pouring down her face like a broken dam. She still didn't understand what was happening. Why was Grandma being so mean? "Grandma, what did I even do? Why are you screaming at me like this? How did I shame the family? What is wrong with you? You have the nerve to ask me that. You tell me who is in that hospital room next door. Who is he exactly? What right does he have to be lying in a penthouse VIP suite?" Grandma Liu got angrier as she spoke, even though she was trying to save Ruyan some face. If it were anyone else, she would have started screaming by now. Even though Ruyan and Chen Mo weren't married yet, they were engaged, and what Ruyan was doing now was basically cheating. Back in Grandma's day, a woman would have been shamed and driven out of town. Ruyan was completely blindsided by the question. She'd never told her family about Ye Fan. Aside from Chen Mo, everyone else just thought Ye Fan was her assistant. Ruyan felt like she'd been stabbed in the back. She asked frantically, "Grandma, how do you know Ye Fan is here? Did Chen Mo tell you? How could he do this? I clearly explained everything to him already. There's nothing going on with Ye Fan. He's just my assistant. He is being so petty." Grandma Liu let out a cold snort. "A little assistant? What kind of assistant makes you walk out in the middle of your own engagement party? And since when do CEOs play nurse and stay overnight for their assistant's hospital stay? Is this really a boss and employee relationship? Who on earth would believe that? Do you think we're all idiots?" Facing her grandmother's interrogation, Ruyan was at a total loss. She didn't know how to explain her bond with Ye Fan, but she was certain it wasn't about romance. To her, Ye Fan was more like family, a deep connection without the blood relation. But if she said that out loud, would her grandmother actually believe her? Right now, the only person who could fix this mess was Chen Mo. If he just stood up and backed her story, Grandma would definitely listen to him. She reached for her phone to call him, and this time Grandma Liu didn't stop her. She just said indifferently, "Don't waste your breath. I doubt Chen Mo is going to pick up." Ruyan didn't believe her and dialed the number anyway. But Chen Mo really didn't answer. In the past, this was absolutely unheard of. He would always pick up within 3 seconds. But today, Ruyan called 3 times in a row and there was nothing but silence. "Oh, my dear granddaughter, let me tell you the truth." Grandma Liu sighed deeply and told Ruyan everything that had happened after she left. From the moment Chen Mo called her to the choice he gave her, and finally him calling off the engagement in front of everyone. The only thing Grandma didn't mention were those photos of her and Ye Fan at the hotel. When Ruyan heard he'd ended it publicly, she was stunned. With a look of pure disbelief, she asked, "How is that possible? He loves me so much. How could he just cancel our engagement like that? No, I have to go find him. I have to ask him to his face what he thinks he's doing. How does he have the nerve to do this?" Ruyan started to bolt for the door. "Get back here. What good is going there now?" Grandma Liu looked at her granddaughter and realized she couldn't even tell right from wrong anymore. She finally saw how she'd failed Ruyan. Ruyan was the one in the wrong, and Chen Mo had simply stopped putting up with it. Grandma asked sharply, "Tell me the truth right now. What is your relationship with that boy next door? How far have things gone between you two?" Ruyan froze at the question. Her eyes flickered with guilt, and after a long, hesitant pause, she said, "Grandma, really, it's nothing." "What are you even saying? Ye Fan and I have absolutely nothing going on. You have to believe me. We are really just colleagues, maybe friends at most. Don't listen to the garbage Chen Mo is spewing." When I said I chose Ye Fan over the phone, I only meant I was coming to the hospital. I wasn't saying that between Ye Fan and Chen Mo I had picked Ye Fan. How could I ever give up on Chen Mo? That is just not going to happen. Now those last words from Liu Ruyan were actually the truth. At that moment, she was just so rattled by your relentless pressure that she blurted out she chose Ye Fan without thinking. Looking back, that statement was definitely a mistake. Chen Mo had clearly laid a trap for her. He wanted Liu Ruyan to walk right into it, and Liu Huiqin wasn't buying a single word of her excuses. Realizing Liu Ruyan wasn't being honest, Liu Huiqin felt a wave of deep disappointment. Even now, Liu Ruyan was still making excuses, making the old woman's chest ache with fury. Liu Ruyan, are you really going to keep lying to me? Even I don't believe that explanation. None of the guests out there will believe you either. You need to realize that tonight's attendees are all high-profile figures. Many of them are our family's business partners and close associates. If word gets out that you're having an affair, do you have any idea how much damage that would do to the Liu family? Liu Ruyan looked completely stunned. She asked in shock, an affair? What affair? Who told you I was having an affair? Instead of explaining, Liu Huiqin just pulled out her phone. She sent the photos of her and Ye Fan over. Liu Ruyan opened them. Her eyes widened in pure terror. Where did you get these? Who took these pictures? Never mind where I got them, I'm telling you right now. Whether something happened between you two or not, that Ye Fan is a dead man. Even if the Chen family doesn't act, the Liu family won't let him live. He is the biggest stain on your reputation. While Liu Ruyan was still reeling from the photos, she heard Liu Huiqin threaten to kill Ye Fan. She immediately shouted, "No! You can't touch him, I won't allow it. If you want to kill him, you'll have to kill me first." Liu Huiqin collapsed onto the bed, so livid she couldn't even speak. Liu Ruyan didn't notice her grandmother's condition. She was desperate to figure out what was going on with those photos. I remember now, this was from that business trip I took with Ye Fan last week. That night he only came to my room for work reasons. We were just discussing company business, then he spilled coffee on me. So I had to change my clothes. You have to believe me. You're the one who raised me. How could I ever do something like that? Hearing this, Liu Huiqin was still torn between belief and doubt. These photos didn't actually show what happened inside the room, but a man and a woman alone in a room in the middle of the night, and then Ruyan in a bathrobe seeing him out. No matter how you look at it, it looks suspicious. Her explanation just didn't hold water. Seeing that her grandmother still didn't believe her, Liu Ruyan said flatly, "Nana, if you still don't trust me, we're already at the hospital. Call a gynecologist in here right now. I'll let them examine me this second to prove I'm still a virgin." Seeing her granddaughter so adamant, Liu Huiqin started to believe her a little more. But she was even more confused now. If they weren't, why was Liu Ruyan protecting Ye Fan so fiercely? Ruyan knew she couldn't hide the truth about Ye Fan much longer. I have no choice but to tell the truth now, Liu Ruyan sighed. Ye Fan started working at the Liu family company a year ago. She thought he was decent enough, so she moved him right to her side to work. Gradually, she started to find him special. Compared to her other suitors who were desperate for her love, or Chen Mo and his suffocatingly perfect care, Ye Fan just felt different. And since there were 3 generations of women in the Liu family, without a single boy in the entire clan, she had always wished for a younger brother. Ye Fan showing up was exactly what she needed. Over the past year, Liu Ruyan became more and more dependent on him, even giving in to his most outrageous demands. When Liu Huiqin heard this, she wanted to slap Liu Ruyan right across the face. A brother? What kind of brother is that? You have no blood relation yet, you're that intimate. Who on earth would believe such a thing? No one but Chen Mo. That poor fool who was blinded by love, but clearly he's not a fool anymore. He's finally woken up. No wonder Chen Mo was so cold about this whole thing. He'd been pushed to the edge by one disappointment after another until he hit total despair. All that trust was repaid with nothing but betrayal, which is why he called off the wedding in front of everyone. Liu Huiqin beat her chest in agony, wailing, "What kind of sin did my ancestors commit to deserve this? How could I have a granddaughter like you?" Hearing her grandmother scolding, Liu Ruyan felt incredibly wronged. Just then a frantic knocking came at the door. Xinhai called out from outside, "Mom, I have an emergency to report. Get here." Xinhai rushed in with the tablet and hurried to Liu Huiqin. "Mom, Ruyan's scandal is all over the internet. The public is tearing us apart right now. What are we supposed to do?" Liu Huiqin couldn't stand his panicky, spineless behavior. He had no backbone at all, and was nowhere near as steady as Chen Mo, who's only in his 20s. "Stop shaking, you look pathetic." At her bark, Xinhai shrunk back, looking even more timid. Liu Ruyan stood to the side, looking at him with pure disgust. She truly hated her own father. If the Liu family hadn't been desperate for a male heir, her mother would never have married a man like this into the family. Even the women in this house are calmer than him when things go south. And Chin Hai was useless. He couldn't even give the Liu family a son. After her mother passed away, the family looked down on him even more, and Chin Hai was used to it by now. He didn't even get angry. Mom, you really need to see this first. Liu Ruyan took the tablet and looked at it with Liu Huiqin, but before long, Ruyan began to shake with rage and Liu Huiqin just collapsed. She had been driven unconscious once again. It turned out the scandal was exploding online, and public opinion was completely lopsided. Everyone was siding with Chen Mo, because several insiders had started posting about everything Chen Mo had done for Liu Ruyan over the years. Someone had even leaked a detailed list of the massive dowry and gifts the Chen family had given the Lius. When the netizens saw it, they were horrified. It was heartless. Now Liu Ruyan had no way to defend herself. Even if she tried to claim she and Ye Fan were just like siblings, who would ever believe her? Everyone was condemning Liu Ruyan, and the entire Liu family getting dragged through the mud with her. People were already calling for a total boycott of all Liu family products. When the stock market opens tomorrow, everyone who holds Liu family stock is going to dump it. The disaster was clearly unavoidable. Tomorrow will be a total nightmare for the Liu family if we don't find a way to fix this right now. The family will never be able to recover from this. All these years, all the resources we scrambled to get from the Chen family, the status we built up bit by bit, it's all gonna come crashing down. What are we gonna do? Grandma, what do we do? Liu Ruyan is finally tasting the bitter fruit of her own actions. Her reputation is completely trashed, and she's dragging the whole family into the gutter with her. You failed to raise her right, and now you're asking me what to do. How should I know when you were making those choices back then? Did you even stop to think about a day like this? Old Liu couldn't hold back anymore, and she slapped Liu Ruyan hard across the face. Ruyan clutched her cheeks, sobbing hysterically, consumed by grief and regret. Grandma, I was wrong. I know I messed up. Do you think Chen Mo is really going to leave us? No, Grandma, I don't want to call off the wedding. I love him. I never betrayed him. I didn't cheat. Ruyan was no longer that untouchable ice goddess or mountain flower. Now she looked just like a pathetic abandoned pet, begging for mercy. Oh, so you realize you're wrong now? It's too late. If you wanted to play around, you should have been smart enough to hide it. But no, you had to be so public. It's like you wanted the whole world to know you had a man on the side. Well, are you happy now? You've ruined yourself and you've killed the Liu family too. Looking at those comments, Liu Huiqin didn't believe for a second that Ruyan and Ye Fan were just siblings. The old lady started crying too. She could already see their 100-year legacy being destroyed in an instant. She loathed Liu Ruyan, but she hated Chen Mo even more for blowing this whole thing out of proportion. Humiliating them at the wedding wasn't enough. He had to spread rumors online to spark a public outcry. If Chen Mo knew he was being blamed for all this, he'd probably cough up blood again from the sheer audacity. That's when Chin Hai stepped forward and said to the old lady, Mom, how do you think we should handle this situation right now? How else can we handle it? Chin Hai paused for a moment, thought it through and said, Mom, we need a two-step plan. First, we have to deal with the online outrage. We need to contact our people immediately. Block the news and bury this scandal. Step 2. We go find Chen Mo right now and force him to hold a press conference to take the fall for everything. Liu Ruyan and Liu Huiqin stared at each other in shock. Both steps seemed nearly impossible. Knowing what needs to be done is one thing, but actually making it happen is the hard part. Especially getting Chen Mo to show up and take the blame. What did he even do wrong in all this? Even Liu Ruyan couldn't find a single fault in him. Chin Hai laid out his idea, and the grandmother and granddaughter just stood there completely stunned. They never imagined that a useless son-in-law and a weak, incompetent father could actually come up with a plan like this. Huiqin had just been trashing Chin Hai for being a panicky, unstable mess, but he shut her up real quick regarding those two steps. First, managing the internet outrage is actually the easy part. The Liu family has their own entertainment company. We just need a few A-list celebrities to manufacture some massive scandals that are way more explosive than Ruyama. The public's attention will shift in no time. Now, as for Yi Fan's identity, the Liu family decided to just go through with it and take him in, having Liu Huiqin formally recognize him as her god-grandson. That way there wouldn't be any issues with the public image of Liu Ruyan and Ye Fan's relationship. The final and most critical piece of the puzzle required Chen Mo to step up. They needed him to tell the public that he just got way too jealous, that he let his emotions get the better of him and misunderstood the bond between Ye Fan and Liu Ruyan, blowing the whole thing out of proportion. He'd have to take all the blame and say he never stopped trusting her. and that he's still deeply in love with her. Chen Hai noted that the first two things were easy enough to handle. The real problem was that Chen Mo might not play along. Liu Huiqin thought about it for a moment. She immediately gave the order, "Chen Hai, I'm appointing you as the vice president of the Liu Group. You have full authority to handle this. As for Chen Mo, Ruyan and I will find a way. You go now and start spinning the narrative tonight." This was exactly what Chen Hai was waiting for, and he agreed instantly. He grabbed his tablet and headed out. Once he was gone, Liu Huiqin asked sternly, "Liu Ruyan, tell me the truth. Did you actually sleep with Yifan, even now?" Liu Huiqin still didn't fully believe her granddaughter. She didn't buy that it was just a sibling thing. This little brother Ruyan picked up felt more like a secret lover. Ruyan couldn't believe it. Even her own grandmother, the one who spoiled her most, didn't trust her. "Grandma, please believe me, I really didn't sleep with him. I only think of him as a brother. If you don't believe me, I'll swear on my mother's memory." At the mention of Ruyan's mother, Liu Huiqin's expression shifted slightly. Her eyes looked a bit uneasy. "Fine, but just to be safe. You should still get an exam done. Take the medical proof and use it to explain things to Chen Mo." An exam? What kind of proof? Ruyan didn't understand what her grandmother was getting at. It wasn't until Liu Huiqin glanced pointedly at her lower body that it finally clicked. Her grandmother wanted her to get a virginity check. An hour later, Ruyan, her face flushed with shame, headed toward the Chen family estate with the medical report in hand. "She'd called you countless times on the way, but you never picked up. Ruyan didn't know if you were angry or just fast asleep while she was on her way to the house. You finally woke up. You had fainted earlier from the sheer grief of coughing up blood. That bit of blood felt like a final tribute to the past. In saying goodbye to Liu Ruyan, you had finally carved her out of your... After that, you actually felt a weight lifted, as if your love for her had been purged along with the blood. The image of her that used to haunt your mind was finally gone. You looked around the brand new wedding house and muttered to yourself, "It's time to say goodbye to the past." You grabbed a bottle of red wine from the rack, chugging it straight from the bottle, taking a massive gulp. Then you slammed the bottle against your wedding photo, watching it shatter. The photo was ruined. You opened another bottle, took a few more drinks, and headed to the bedroom. You pulled down Ruyan's wedding dress, drenched it in wine, and flicked your lighter to set it ablaze. This dress was a masterpiece that had taken half a year to make, encrusted with priceless jewels, and you were watching it burn to a crisp. You remembered how much you wanted to give her the perfect wedding. You'd even traveled to Europe yourself to have a master tailor hand make this dress for her. But now it was useless. You grabbed the rest of the framed photos of the two of you, throw it all in the fire, burn every last bit of it. The blinding glare of the flames soon caught the attention of the Chen family bodyguards outside. Afraid to step inside, one of them shouted from the doorway, "Sir, are you all right? Do you need us to come in? Just pack up my things and get them out of here. And then tear this whole place down. You hated this house, this so-called marital home. In your past life, this was where Liu Ruyan nearly killed you, leaving you in a coma for years. And eventually it became the very place where she and Ye Fan carried on their secret affair. You didn't give them another thought, you just walked away drinking straight from the bottle. You left that place behind, wandering aimlessly with a drink in your hand, not knowing where to go. Even though you owned property all over the city, not a single one felt like home. The marital home was where she betrayed you. The family estate was where Shen Yuchu was taken away. Every time you thought about going back, the memories would claw at you until the pain was unbearable. You walked the streets alone like a ghost lost in the shadows and your own loneliness. You felt like a stray dog with nowhere to go, just drifting along the empty road. By the time the early morning hours hit, your legs finally gave out from exhaustion. You happened to pass a 5-star hotel and headed straight for the entrance. You booked yourself a presidential suite once you had the key card in hand. You stepped into the elevator alone. The suite was all the way up on the 66th floor. But the elevator jolted to a stop on the 50th floor. Suddenly, a woman with messy clothes and a trembling gait rushed inside. She slammed the door shut immediately, looking as if something terrifying was right on her heels. You squinted, trying to get a look at her. She looked young, maybe a recent college graduate. She was tall, wearing a tight cream-colored dress that hugged every curve of her body perfectly. She was a rare beauty, the kind you don't see every day, even standing toe-to-toe with someone like Liu Ruyan. You took one look and then turned your gaze away. The alcohol was hitting you hard now, and all you wanted was a bed to crash on. But this woman, she seemed even more wasted than you were. She was swaying on her feet, barely standing. Her pale, slender arms couldn't even find the handrail, and she tumbled right towards you. Instinctively, you reached out to catch her, the moment your skin touched hers. It felt like you were holding fine silk. Her skin was incredibly soft and delicate. So smooth and radiant, it made your heart skip a beat. She leaned into your chest and whispered, "Me, please help me." You realized something was wrong almost instantly. Her body temperature was sky high. Strange red flushes were blooming across her porcelain skin. Before you could react, she tilted her head back and pressed her lips against yours. She wrapped her arms around your neck, pulling you down with everything she had. You tried to keep a grip on the situation, but when the elevator opened, you hurried out carrying her toward your room. The second you got inside, she became even more frantic. She started desperately tugging at her clothes and yours. "Miss, please stop." "Don't talk, just kiss me." She silenced you with another kiss. Staring at this goddess-like woman inches from your face and with the alcohol clouding your judgment. How could anyone resist? You closed your eyes and let the fire consume you both. While things were heating up in the hotel, Liu Ruyan was being left in the cold at the Chen family estate. Only after her desperate pleading did the butler Uncle Li finally tell her that you had gone back to the new house. The moment Liu Ruyan heard this, she didn't waste a second and raced toward the wedding suite. "Chen Mo must still care about me," she thought. "He's waiting for me there." Hope flared up in her chest, and for the first time she finally felt like she could breathe again. But when Liu Ruyan finally made it to the house, you were nowhere to be found. The house wasn't empty, though. Several bodyguards were there swinging baseball bats. They were smashing every piece of decor to bits, and Ruyan felt her blood boil with rage at the sight. She screamed at the top of her lungs, "Stop it! What do you think you're doing? Who gave you permission to wreck this place? Get out right now!" The guards knew exactly who she was. She was the woman who had almost become the miss of this estate. One of them spoke up, "The young master ordered us to do this." They weren't sure who they should listen to. They worried that if you and Ruyan made up later, they'd be the ones paying the price for the destruction. "Listen to me, I'm not gonna say it twice, get lost." Seeing her fury, the guards hesitated. They eventually dropped their bats and walked out. Once they were gone, she collapsed onto the floor. It finally hit her, you weren't playing games, you were serious. This wasn't just a petty argument or you throwing a tantrum, you were actually leaving her. "Chen Mo, why won't you even give me a chance to explain?" As Liu Ruyan sat there on the rug in agony, her eyes caught sight of a dark stain on the carpet. Bright red blood was splattered across the pristine white wool, looking hauntingly sharp. He coughed up blood. Chen Mo actually coughed up blood because of her. "What have I done?" sobbed. "How could I have pushed him to this point?" Liu Ruyan sat there lost and broken, crying her heart out in the middle of the ruins. In that moment, she looked like a withered leaf being swept away by a cold autumn wind. Fragile and helpless, her eyes were hollowed out by nothing but despair and grief. Meanwhile, in a luxury bed within a presidential suite, you and that strange woman were still lost in a feverish, desperate embrace. 1 hour later, the effects of the drug finally wore off, leaving her body limp and exhausted on the bed. And you finally found your release. As the morning sun began to peek through the curtains, she was the first to wake. She looked like a white lotus in full bloom, pure radiant and possessing an air of sacred elegance. The faint flush remaining on her skin was like the shy blush of a young girl. Adding a touch of charm, a silent to the night, she went from a girl to a woman. Liu Mengyao stared at her surroundings, her mind going completely blank for a moment. She realized she was in a strange bed, and even worse, there was a man she didn't recognize lying next to her. Her first instinct was to scream, but she immediately clamped her hand over her mouth. She was terrified of waking him up, afraid she might be taken advantage of all over again. It turns out Liu Mengyao was a student at the Magic City Academy of Drama, nearly finished with her degree just before graduation. She had signed a contract with Hongyi Film and Media. Yesterday, she accepted an invitation from her senior Zhang Jie to come. Zhang Jie took her out to meet a few big-shot investors. Before they even arrived, Zhang Jie had already dropped hints that she needed to loosen up tonight and be willing to make some sacrifices. She never imagined that loosening up actually meant selling herself and using her body to please those fat cat investors. Of course she wasn't having it and tried to walk out right then and there, but Zhang Jie blocked her way. Finally, Zhang Jie backed down a little, insisting she at least finish one drink with them before she could leave. He thought finishing that one drink would be the end of it, but little did he know it was just the start of a nightmare. That drink was definitely spiked. Before long, his head started spinning and he lost all control. He was dragged into a penthouse suite like a prize for some rich creep, but luckily, he was more stubborn than the drug. The second the guy walked in, he vomited all over the man's expensive suit. While the guy was busy cleaning up in the shower, he took his chance and bolted out of the room. But somehow, Liu Mengyao was the one who got lucky. She stares at you while you're dead to the world in bed. As the memories of last night slowly flood back, it finally hits her. She was the one who jumped your bones. Thinking back on that wild, reckless night, her face turns bright red. What am I supposed to do now? Panic rising, she takes another look at you. Realizing the man who took her virginity is actually incredibly handsome, she finds herself staring at your face. She whispers softly, "At least it was you, lucky you, I guess. If it had been that disgusting old man, I'd have died." She steps off the bed, her bare feet hitting the floor. Her skin is flawless and pale, glowing like some goddess out of a legend. Moving gracefully, she carefully picks up her torn and tattered clothes from the floor. She throws them on, but they barely cover anything. With no other choice, she grabs your coat and slips it on. She mutters to herself, "I slept with him and now I'm stealing his clothes. Is this totally immoral?" She hesitates for a sec. She takes off her necklace, leaves it on the nightstand, and scribbles a quick note. Finally, she gives a bitter laugh. "Am I basically paying for a service here?" She covers her face, stuck between a laugh and a cry. She wraps your coat tightly around herself and heads for the door. But just as she reaches the exit, she stops in her tracks. She turns back with a look that's both elegant and full of complicated emotions. Seeing you sleeping like a log, she tries to burn your image into her memory. A moment later, she opens the door and leaves without looking back. You don't wake up until the sun is high in the sky. By the time you finally open your eyes, Liu Mengyao is long gone. Realizing she's already left you, glance over at the nightstand. There you see the necklace and the scrap of paper. It reads, "Just a one-night thing, don't go looking for me. I took your coat, so the necklace is for your trouble." You clutch the necklace in your hand, bring it to your nose. You take a light breath, catching a hint of her unique scent still lingering on it. Finally, you notice the red stains on the sheets and a knowing smirk plays on your lips. "You think you can just sleep with me and vanish? Not a chance." You pull out your phone and call your bodyguard, Liu Hao. "There was a woman in my room last night. I want her full profile on my desk within 1 hour. And bring me a fresh set of clothes." Before Liu Hao can even respond, you hang up. You toss the phone aside and head into the bathroom to shower. Meanwhile, Liu Hao is nearly jumping out of his skin on the other end. "What, someone broke into the young master's room last night? Check the security cameras immediately. I need to know exactly who went into that room." Just as you finish getting ready, the bodyguard appears at the door with fresh clothes and a folder. "What did you find?" You don't even the folder. You ask while getting dressed, and Liu Hao quickly answers, "Sir, we've identified her. The woman who was in your room last night is named Liu Mengyao. She's currently a college student at the famous Shanghai Theater Academy. She was invited to perform in the city yesterday. After the show, someone spiked her drink at the dinner party. Where is he now? He caught an early train and cleared out first thing this morning. He's already back in the city." You ask, "So who was the one who invited her?" "We tracked him down. His name is Zhang Ji. He's also a graduate from the Performing Arts School. Menyao's upperclassman. You're telling me he's the one who drugged her?" Liu Hao nods grimly. "It looks that way, even if he wasn't the one who physically did it. He's still an accomplice. He's the middleman who set the whole thing up." You let out a cold snort, your eyes filled with a murderous glare. "A man, let's be real, he's a pimp. Whose bed was he planning to hand Mengyao over to?" Liu Hao says awkwardly. "Sir, you know this person. In fact, you two go way back." You're just throwing on your coat when Liu Hao says you actually know the guy. You look totally caught off guard. "What, I know him?" "Go ahead, tell me. I want to know what kind of piece of trash I'm supposedly close with." Liu Hao gives you a nervous glance and stammers out, It's Master Chen." "Master Chen? Who the hell is Master Chen?" For a second, the name doesn't even ring a bell.